Two talented young girls of Indian chess are playing against each other at the under-9 national championships. On the left of your screen is Arshitha S from Tamil Nadu, and on the right of your screen is Sai Anshitha from Telangana. Arshita opens the game with pawn to e4. This is under 9 nationals, round number 9. And look at uh, Anshita telling her opponent that I want to just adjust all my pieces. She's just calmly adjusting all the pawns, all the pieces. It'll take her quite some time to get all of them in order. Both of them are on 6.5 points out of 8 on board number 2, so they have the chance of winning the title. And here, look at her. She's adjusting the g7 pawn, h7 pawn with all the focus that she can. Will she do it for all the pieces? Ah, yes, of course. Rook and the knight and the bishop. Insane. And I like how the opponent is watching each and every adjustment that's happening. Even Magnus doesn't take so much time, to adjust all the pieces. Okay, Sai Anshitha has done it, and now it's time for her to play her first move. Not yet. E5, and she presses the clock. She took a minute to do all of that. Arshita goes knight f3. And now black plays knight to c6. Will it be the Italian with bishop c4? Yes, it is. Bishop to c4 played by Arshita. And now Sai Anshitha plays bishop c5. And presses the clock. And white goes pawn to c3 with the idea of playing pawn to d4 right into the center. A knight comes out to f6, attacking the pawn on e4. This is all very well known theory. And we have d4, sharp line. This is why the national championships are very interesting, because if you see a top level game, they'll mostly go d3, but pawn takes pawn. And now two ways to play. One is to take back, the other is to push the pawn to e5. Arshita pushes the pawn to e5. Now the main move here is d5, and that is what Sai Anshitha plays. She's well prepared. She goes d5, bishop b5 played very quickly. And now your knight is hanging, so you go knight to e4. She takes, c takes d4, and here bishop b6 is the main move. Also sometimes some players do give bishop b4 check, but Sai Anshitha goes bishop b6, keeping up the pressure on the d4 point. And now castles has been played. This is not the most accurate move in the opening. Knight c3 or bishop e3 would have been better, but castles allows bishop g4. But Sai Anshitha also castles, and now you can play h3. But she takes on c6, bishop takes c6, b takes c6 taken, and knight to d2 played. The entire issue with the way in which white has approached this opening is that this bishop can now be activated with c5. Usually this is the problem piece for black, because it's not doing much on b6. But here bishop g4, I like this move that Sai Anshitha has played. She can go c5 sooner, very soon. h3 played, and now couple of ways to continue. One is bishop h5, the other is to take on d2, and she takes it. Because look, if you take bishop d2, I can take on f3 and take on d4. So h takes g4 makes sense, but now knight takes f3, and if you take with the queen, then there is bishop takes d4. By the way, the better move was knight takes f1, and I'm surprised that Sai Anshitha did not go there, because g takes f3 and now white is back in the game. What was the reason not to take an exchange? Maybe she thought that this is a very weak king, and so she can actually play f6, f4 played. Now Arshita is the one who's pressing here. Because if fe, there is de. So c5 played. And now a very good way to continue here is to play f5. And look at this. C takes d4, e6. And white is the one pressing here. But she takes on c5, which allows black to take back. Bishop takes c5. Yeah, she can take now. Bishop c5. And the thing is, if you play e6 here to get f5, then black can play f5. So that's the reason why she goes rook e1. But now pawn takes pawn. I mean, black is clearly the one who's pressing here. Rook takes e5, attacking the pawn on d5, but c6 seems logical. Let's see what Arshita does now. She goes queen c2. She attacks the bishop here and also the pawn on c6. Bishop comes back to d6. The rook moves to h5. Mate is threatened here. I mean, at least the h7 pawn is falling. So g6 played by Sai Anshitha. Rook h3. This game has been very creative. The c6 pawn is falling, but she takes on f4. And now you can take on f6. Yes, she takes it. And rook f6 is a good move, attacking the queen. There's also rook c8, but that is met with a check. Finds the move rook f6, attacking the queen. And now queen to b7. Ooh, look at the nasty threat that Arshita has put up with h7 pawn hanging, and rook f7 is the best move here. She plays it. Rook f7 on the board. Queen comes back to b3. And now bishop takes c1. It's not an easy position to play. There are so many chances, so many possibilities for both sides. Rook takes c1. And now queen to g5 is a strong move. She plays it. Good chess here by Sai Anshitha. She attacks the rook and the pawn. Queen d1, a good move, defending the rook and the pawn. And the rooks are doubled. Oh no, not doubled. Rook e8 played. I thought she would bring a rook to f8. Rook c3. And now rook to f4, attacking the g4 pawn. Arshita brings her rook to the g3 square, and now rook e4 can be played to attack the g4 pawn again. She goes rook e4, threatening rook e1 check to win the queen. You have to tread very carefully now as white. Arshita goes king g2. And now rook to e1. Plays queen e5. Okay. We have rook e3. I mean, taking the pawn here doesn't make sense as the d5 pawn is hanging. So Sai Anshitha goes queen g5 and she attacks the pawn again here on g4. The rook goes back to g3. Are the girls finding a way to repeat here? Queen e5 played quickly. Rook comes back to e3. Queen g5 played. I think we are seeing a repetition happening here. Rook g3. And I think queen e5, this is going to be the third time that it's going to be played. But this is not how you claim a draw. You have to not make your move and offer a draw. You have to first write it down on the score sheet, pause the clock and call the arbiter. Well, it is threefold repetition, but the problem is that she's already made her move, and so now it's the ball is in Arshita's court. She can actually decline the draw and play on if she wants to. And this is a very good lesson. And Sai Anshitha is like, okay, if you don't need a draw, then we'll continue. It's not like I want a draw. Thought it's a repetition. Queen d2 played. Arshitha is brave and she continues, but the problem is her position is not good. Now she's worse. The move d4 is a very strong move. She plays rook e2, which is also possible. And now queen c3, trading the queens. But she goes queen h6, and this is a big mistake. She's threatening mate here, but rook takes f2, king takes f2, and queen e1 check, followed by rook entering in, is a checkmate, nothing less than that. Oh, she's going for the queen. She didn't find it, but she gives a check. She spoiled nothing. If you go king e1, rook e1 and mate on the h file, rook f3 is kind of the only move. She plays it, but now rook takes f2 is a killer blow. And finds rook takes f2. Well done, Sai Anshitha. She finds this move, and now king takes f2 is forced. But the game is over because queen e1 check. And what a mate this is. The white queen goes to checkmate the black king, and it would be a checkmate, but look at these two black pieces that have entered, the queen and the rook. And you can see it's dawning onto Arshitha that it's over. Rook f2 played. Queen takes rook, check. King h1. And now Sai Anshitha can just play queen g2. It's game over. Queen f1, queen e1, many ways to mate. She mates it with queen g2 and she's won the game. What a game this was. Pauses the clock and takes the pieces back. Arshitha, well, a very nice handshake by both the girls. They both are very good talents, and we hope that they will go on to become great players. But this game was truly a very, very exciting one.